My name is Lea. I will speak about discrete Bitcoin. You might know these two with the beards, the turban, that's me. If you haven't figured, we're coming from holding this company called Satoshi Labs. And this is the mission of that company, strengthening the power and independence of an individual. And the flagship of that mission is Trezor Model T. And the tool of that mission is Bitcoin. But, well, we don't really have good options how to obtain Bitcoin to be able to put it to the Trezor. We have solutions, but all of them come with a certain set of drawbacks. If it's centralized exchanges, decentralized exchanges, the ATMs, private groups on various private messengers, or, well, yeah, there are people trying to trade Bitcoin on public, for example, Facebook groups. There are really people like this. So, as I said, they come with a certain set of drawbacks. What does that mean? Either they are not open source, they require KYC or AML, they have some kind of entry barrier, typically they are not really user-friendly, or they require you to already have Bitcoin in order to be able to join. They suffer from low liquidity, or they are not really accessible, like, I don't know, ATMs you typically don't have in the smaller cities. Just to illustrate, this is the print screen of one of the biggest exchanges out there. Not only the amount of information they are collecting is like major intrusion on your privacy. This information is not just collected, it's also stored somewhere. That means it's very likely that it might be stolen, and it is, and it can be, and it is traded with third parties, if it's, for example, state actors or it's various marketing agencies. Yeah, and of course, all of these institutions typically link your identity to the particular trade, which is very, very problematic. Then we have decentralized exchanges, which they try to mitigate all these things that I mentioned, but, well, I mean, this is not really user-friendly. And if we're speaking about this particular one, well, you already have to have Bitcoin in order to be able to buy Bitcoin, because they are requiring escrow service as part of the reputation and trade model. Another thing that people tend to worry about is that counterparty might send you tainted Bitcoin, or Bitcoin that is from some kind of criminal activity. I would not worry about that. I would more worry about the origin of cash, and that's something we don't speak enough about. What do I mean with dirty cash? So imagine you send a transfer, wire transfer, to someone from Singapore who was prosecuted for, well, nothing too tragic. Maybe he was just like smoking joint, but in Singapore, given their jurisdiction, that's a major criminal offense. So, well, since the very moment you send the cash, send the wire transfer to this person, you are going to be flagged across the whole banking system. That's much worse than obtaining tainted Bitcoin. And very unstrategic, unpleasant situation for you and for your existence in the world. Then we have ATMs. ATMs are certainly very good way how to obtain Bitcoin without KYC, but as I already said, often they are not really in any major city, anywhere besides major cities, and they are also very easily regulated. So in Germany, you basically need a big banking license to be able to operate this kind of service. And I think it's around 100 ATMs currently for 80 million citizens in Germany. And for example, in Slovakia, due to the regulation that was pulled off recently, two major providers already led the market, because otherwise they would have to ask for KYC from transaction starting on 0. So then we have the groups of private messengers that are, I mean, I would say they are not too tragic. The problem is that they don't scale, because they tend to bubble up to hundreds of members. And once you have this kind of group, not only that you're disclosing your phone number and your desire to buy or sell Bitcoin to these hundreds of people you don't know, but there is usually no one you could ask about the reputation of the counterparty. Yes, there is a moderator usually, or there are some rules how you can enter such group, but well, if you are a newcomer and you just want to buy or sell Bitcoin from, basically most of these people are totally strange to you. And then, yeah, then we have these public groups on social media. I don't even know where to start. Like, I mean, this is plain wrong. So not only you tell us who you are, you tell us where you live, you tell us who your counterparty is here in the, it's like, okay, sorry. Yeah, here. You tell us where your counterparty is, and also you tell us directly that you are way above the AML limits in European Union for which you trade. Also very problematic. If I was a financial intelligence officer looking for Christmas bonuses, I would just join this group and go one by one connecting with these people. So, well, as I said, certain set of drawbacks. So what is the solution? And we were thinking about it. We were thinking about it a lot. And we came, well, no further than the very first sentence of Bitcoin white paper. Because what is Bitcoin? It's purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash that would allow us to have online payments that go directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. So ideal solution, how it should look like, it should be peer-to-peer, of course. It should be open source. It should scale, should respect your privacy, and should not leave a digital footprint. Also, it should be accessible and inclusive to anyone, that anyone can join the network. And that's exactly what we try to achieve with Vexl, which is a mobile app giving its customers a simple, accessible, secure, and private way how to obtain Bitcoin or sell it as it was intended. That means peer-to-peer without KYC. So briefly, how does it look like? You go through onboarding when basically other thing required is a phone number. Then you import your contacts, and we take you to a marketplace. That's the first screen. What is interesting about this marketplace? On this marketplace, you can see only the offers from a certain social graph, that graph being the offers of the contacts and contacts of their contacts. And these offers are anonymized in a way that these two offers over there on the first slide, on the first screen, they can be from the very same person, but you see those offers as two different anonymized people. If you like an offer, you can request it. And if the counterparty agrees and accepts your request, we will open an end-to-end encrypted chat for you, and you can speak together and basically agree on particular details of the trade. So to summarize, anyone can join Vexl. You don't need nothing. You need App Store, and you need a phone number. There is no KYC, there is no escrow, there is no deposit. It is and always will be for free. And it's private and peer-to-peer. That means all of your activity is hidden, even from the service provider. That means us. And what makes Vexl truly unique, that's the revolutionary approach towards reputation. And why? Why is it revolutionary? Because it's real-world reputation. That's exactly what we are trying to achieve. We are trying to bring the real-world reputation to an app, to a technology. And then we try to use it as the ultimate collateral in your transaction. Because what is so specific about real-world reputation? Well, your counterparty is automatically strongly incentivized to behave properly on the platform. Because you don't want to be dick among your friends. It can't be manipulated. Well, once you are considered to be a dick, it's very hard to manipulate it. And it's the most reliable approach towards individual risk assessment. Every particular trade of Bitcoin has a specific threat model, and that can't be solved. It can't be covered by technology. You have to assess it for yourself. So how does it look in practice? One thing I didn't mention, when you're requesting the offer, not only that you see how many common friends you have, you also see who these people are. So that kind of describes the social bubble or the social graph you're operating within. And if you are not certain, for example, you have this, you're suspicious that the counterparty in that encrypted anonymous chat could be someone, well, let's say malicious. You can request to reveal the identity. And this is happening symmetrically, so if the counterparty reveals the identity, you reveal the identity to the counterparty, you might find out that it's someone you already know, like your classmate, or that you actually, I don't know, are the people happening to be on the same conference. In practice, then, it looks like a lot like a Tinder date. On-site, well, is superior to doing it online. So we encourage the users to actually meet and trade in cash. That's not only because, well, again, you can mitigate many risks associated with the wire transfer, but also, well, you are meeting people, making friends. Cash over wire transfer, I mean, I made that clear. You don't want to leave a digital footprint. I mean, it depends. If you connected with someone from your high school and you know the person and you need 40 euros in Lightning, I mean, well, if you do it over wire transfer and you don't particularly write, this is for Bitcoin, thanks, in the note of the payment, and I mean, I would say it's okay, but again, it's up to you. We encourage using common sense. We cannot solve your bad decisions for you. If you are hesitant about the counterparty, you can always ask the common friend. That's actually, we actually mimic what is already happening with in the real world. If you are going on a Tinder date, you usually check who you have in common with your with the person you met, and you ask a common friend. And if you don't have a common friend or reliable common contact, well, then you're approaching it much more carefully. And yeah, actually, what we see, or the feedback we are getting, people are actually really continuously enlarging their social network because they are making new friends, because they are meeting like-minded people who are caring about their privacy, and people who are either buying or selling Bitcoin for, well, obvious reasons. So that's it from me. I'm happy to take your questions if there are any, and yeah.
So the basic premise is that the threat model for the level of your paranoia right now has a window. There's already a digital footprint and digital tools that are surveilled, that people have been willingly using to transact with each other. And so you're just mapping that digitally. But my question is, so are you maintaining a social graph database that's hashed? So what are you actually collecting and serving back to us in which form?
Yeah. So we are collecting as little data as possible. We are using the contacts that are hashed currently just for the creation of the social graph. So we know in which social bubble we should basically show you the offers on the marketplace. But we are using it no other way. We cannot say.
Are you also using it blindly?
Oh, totally blindly? I mean, it's hashing, so it's not a strong crypto. We will address it later on. Now, it's not really necessary because at the same time, we can't really say if someone from the contacts ever joined Vexl. We cannot say if they ever posted an offer, if they sent a message, nothing like that. There is no way for us to find that.
So you just have a relational social graph between nodes with no identity tied to it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a behavioral
Exactly.
model.
Exactly.
And where is that data stored?
It's on our servers.
Okay. And you guys are spread across jurisdictions, and how are you handling the data that it is that you are holding?
Currently not. Currently we are more focusing on the improvements on the side of the client, but this is something we are going to address. Also, in the near future, we would like to address the username, which is not username or user account, which is currently linked to a phone number. We in the future, if Vexl will be spread enough, we would like to have something with higher entropy, of course.
And how about using mixed nets like that are upcoming with NIM and moving the?
Doesn't make too much sense for us in this stage.
Okay. Cool. So there starts my questions. Does anybody else have a question for Lea about Vexl?
We work together, so it's a bit of a leading question. What about going back to the previous talk, people who are traveling, so the digital nomads and this aspect, people will be coming to BTC Prague, they want to get some Czech crowns, they don't have a social graph here. Does that sort of fit into Vexl, or is it purely like your local area, your social graph, meeting like-minded people within your space?
Thanks for the question. We already have the draft of a function called, or feature called groups. So basically, given on a certain parameter, you can join a group where you will not necessarily need to have common friends. So just to give an example, imagine that here on Pizza Day, you would have a special code, pizza to pizza, and based on this code, you would join a group, and you would see the offers on the marketplace with particular sticker on them, let's put it that way, and you know that this is the person who's happening to be here and wants to trade here. So this is one feature we would like to. We already have drafted, but we are not currently live in production with it.
Maybe I wasn't here at the beginning, but is there like possible way to give somebody like or dislike, you know, for like a long term, that you can see that these guys has 200 reviews, or, you know, something like Google or whatever?
That's kind of reputation that can be easily manipulated. We are not actually paying any attention to how to create any kind of synthetic technocratic reputation. But what we already have kind of drafted, again, that's a level of trusted peers in the contact list, in the social graph. So this would be the level, it would be a special level above the contact list that you mark on the client side as these are trustworthy contacts. If you know them or not, we don't know, but you could do it for yourself. So again, we are playing the social reputation card.
Thank you.
Is it a progressive web app? Or
Not
is
yet,
it something that you're
not yet, but we already taken steps towards this approach. Of course,
so now it's an app store?
App Store, yeah, you can also check it out in Aurora Store. Yeah, that's important to say. Currently, we are in Czech and Slovak Republic, where we launched like 9 months ago. We are looking to scale to other markets soon, like within weeks. So basically anyone can access the app via Aurora Store, but for this very moment you need to have the socials, you need to have the social connection to the social graph in order to be able to see the offers. So that means you would need to have some contacts from Czech or Slovak Republic. Otherwise, it's very unlikely that you would see some offers on the marketplace.
So I'm curious, how does Vexl place itself on the European laws of data exchange as a messenger client?
Well, we are
Because
basically,
essentially you're a messenger client providing.
we are hosting provider. Given the regulation, we are hosting provider. And we are basically regulated the very same way as Signal Messenger is. We don't touch Bitcoin, we don't touch fiat, we don't facilitate any transactions, we don't know what is happening on the marketplace. We actually don't know like how many of our users are active or passive. We really have zero knowledge, and we have no relation to the content on the platform.
Cool. Anybody else with another question?
So do you have any plans to handle these like special numbers like 112 or Vodafone support lines or whatever, like to blacklist them, or you don't care, you don't want to interact with this in any way?
In the future, yes, we are already thinking about it. We already have a solution how to filter them. So because yeah, what Philip is asking basically, if you are using a traditional service provider or telecommunication provider, you have all these numbers like various service lines. Let's put it that way, and then you would be connected to people that you might not know. Your only common contact is the service line or 911. Let's put it that way. And well, as we are saying, well, if you are buying like I don't know, 10 euros in Lightning, then fair enough, you can meet with that person, and if he scams you, then well, you lost 10 euros, which I think you can live with. The problem is that the newbies, and particularly in Bull Run, I don't think they would understand the thread model. So our ambition is in the future filter these kind of numbers so they wouldn't be, no, of course it's good for the growth of the social network, but generally speaking, it's not a good, from the point of social reputation, it's not a good, actually not providing us a good service, because we are always saying like ask the common contact, but what are you going to ask 911? It's not going to happen, so.
And how about integration with Nostr? Do you guys are looking forward to have plugin, offer it as an API, APK, whatever to wallet providers? What's the angle there?
So we were actually looking at Nostr like long before it was cool. It was long before it was cool. And it makes sense for us, but as I said, currently we're focusing on the client side. And after we release the new version of the app, which should be, as I said, within weeks, then we will be looking towards the improvements of the backend, and then Nostr makes sense. So,
I mean, my position would be that we're seeing a lot of open protocols happening now. Also, like we have Blue Sky happening, which is also funded by Jack, and it has its own community that's developing around it. And we're seeing living in the fracturing of our messaging clients in our social media world, and with the amount of footprint that we have each left on them in interacting with each other and moving towards these new networks. I'm looking forward to maybe like a plug-in architecture where people can choose their threat level model on which they participate in a peer-to-peer marketplace.
Yes, that's an amazing idea, of course, but that's a future Vexl problem.
Right. So I mean, it stands philosophically to reason that you're saying, okay, here's the amount of choice of what you want to expose to us about your existing social graph to have access to.
Well, no, let me stop you right there. I don't want to know everything. Please don't give me any of your data. Then I have to protect it.
Exactly.
So,
it is a liability.
We don't want any data. And particularly when it comes to data about Bitcoin trading,
Cool. You wanted to ask a question next? No. You didn't have your hand raised, or was it you? Okay, cool. And then?
Just again on the phone number restriction. I wonder if it's self-imposed or like app store level, because like just a user case, like I have many connections here, but I don't have a Czech phone number, so like I couldn't previously use Vexl. Now I can because I had a loophole around it. And just maybe it's a good promotion. As Lea spoke, I actually posted, I would like to sell some Bitcoin for cash. I just posted it, undisclosed amount. So yeah, please hit me if anyone has an offer.
Let me correct you right there. So we are geo-locked on the App Store level, but you can use whatever number you want. We don't verify your number in any other way than you have to just basically receive a verification code in order to be able to join the network. So we prevent basically flooding the network, that's it. But you can use with whatever number you want.
Thanks, Lea, for a speech. My question is, you said it's free for customers, and how you will make money? Is it for profit or non-profit?
It is not for profit. It always will be. Vexl.it/donate if you want to participate in this mission, please. And yeah, it's basically, yeah, it's a gift to community from Satoshi Labs. Or anyone who donates.